Good morning, church. It is April the 1st, 2020, Wednesday, and God is still good. And I thank you for clicking in today. I'm coming to you, as you can tell, no doubt, from my home this morning. It is my son Gabriel's third birthday today. And so we're preparing for uh, the best party that we could give him here at home, Jamie and I and Gabe's grandmother. And we're going to have a good time. We're going to find a way to have a good time. And light will no doubt shine for this little boy today. He's certainly a light in our lives. So thank you for clicking here to check out this video today. We're kind of in the midst of, well, the whole thing is a strange time, right? This week has been especially strange for me so far because it feels like we're in kind of an in-between right now. You know, we were sort of in intensive crisis mode for a couple of weeks, trying to figure out, you know, how to do church together and how to be a blessing to the people of our community. And it was intense. And friends, it could be that there are other levels of intensity coming. We are at the strange place now of still not having a lot of people sick here in Hood County, but knowing that that's a possibility, you know, and that could come soon. I hope not. I pray not, but it could happen. And so, you know, there may be new levels of crisis response coming in the days ahead. But right now, we're sort of in this in between. And I think in some ways, that's a good thing. That's a blessing. I was talking with your moderator, Brian Rossetti, yesterday, and he said, you know, crisis fatigue is a real thing because crisis response implies, again, a level of intensity, a pace that's difficult to maintain. And so I would encourage you, especially this week, to be breathing deeply, praying deeply, loving deeply, and just present and aware to what God and the Spirit are doing in our midst. With that said, I think part of the opportunity this week is to move from maybe that mode of intensive crisis response into routine, trying to incorporate actions that are beneficial to us, that are beneficial to our church and our community, into the rhythms of our new daily routines. I think about the fact that, you know, oftentimes when someone that we love loses someone important to them, we sort of make a rush to be there, to be attentive, to be supportive of them. And so for a week or two, people are getting a lot of love and a lot of attention. And then everybody kind of goes away. And for many people, the weeks that follow that are actually the hardest times in terms of the grief process after losing someone that they love. And so I think maybe there are ways that truth is playing out here as well. You know, we provided as a community a lot of food over the first couple of weeks, and that was a huge blessing. And I'll talk more about that in a little bit. But the need is returning because some of those early supplies have been gone through. And now, you know, the supplies have diminished and the need is returning. And so maybe the opportunity here is not to be thinking in terms of crisis response. I have to get, you know, XYZ amount of food up to the church immediately, but rather to think about how we can incorporate these patterns of giving into our weekly routines. You know, when you order food online, can you get in the habit of ordering a couple of additional items each time with the intention of having those sent to the church for the kids out at Ruth's Place OTS, or for the bags that we make of weekend food for kids? You know, those kind of things I think can be really helpful as we just sort of live into this ongoing process of being church that could continue for a while. All right. Having said all of that, I want to remind you too that there continues to be light. These are dark and challenging times. They really are, but light continues to shine in the midst of that darkness. I got a phone call yesterday from a high school aged girl down in Glen Rose, who is she's crafty. She likes to sew and such. And she had decided, as she sat there, at home, unable to go to school, she said, I wonder if I could start making masks for first responders. And I know that a lot of folks have been doing that. She has done it with particular gusto and passion, and I think has made hundreds of, maybe thousands of masks now. She's getting calls from emergency departments in our area asking her if she has more masks available. And that's a beautiful thing to see, that kind of passion from a 17-year-old girl. I was grateful for what she had to say, and I appreciated her courage in calling. She was calling around to churches. She had gone through her own personal savings in terms of buying the supplies for the mask making, and she was calling around to ask if churches would donate to help her do this on a greater scale. And so, out of our Helping Hands Fund, I have offered her some funds to do that. You have offered her, through me, funds to continue in that ministry. And so thank you for that. And know that that in the midst of all this, those kinds of beautiful things are happening. Young people are responding in faith to their call to serve and to build kingdom in the midst of this messy world that we're living in right now. I also, of course, am seeing a lot of light this morning personally as I look at my son, who's very proud of being 3 years old. And it's been a special morning for us as well. Okay. If you have read the entire email I sent, this is probably where you can click out, unless you want to wait until my scripture reading here at the end. But most of the rest of what I have to say are the same details that I put in the email. First, fccgranbury.live. We have lots of special things happening there today. We will have at noon, Pastor Amy's noon prayer time. And if you haven't joined in that, I know that people that are joining in that are finding it very meaningful and helpful. So I would encourage you to do that noon today. 2:00, the hymn sing with Pastor Deshay. And 5:30, the youth group will be meeting. That will happen on Google Hangouts, not at fccgranbury.live, but youth and families of youth. If you'd like to be involved in that and you're not sure how to get the link, contact Pastor Austin and he can get that for you. And then at 6:00 this evening, we will post the story of redemption and hope, born in darkness, that Amy and Danny Dwight will be sharing with us today. So we're excited about that. They are sort of our resident grief experts. They have done a lot for lots of people in this community when it comes to helping to journey with people through grief. And Megan is asking about Zoom chat or something for Worship and Wonder. We are working on that, Megan. I think the plan this week, I'm going to do another update on Friday about worship this Sunday. We've made some additional tweaks in the flow. And to your question, Megan, I think the process on that is going to be moving Worship and Wonder to the end of worship. So we'll have, the normal worship flow that we've been having, normal, right? And then right at the end, we'll move directly into the Worship and Wonder video. And then at the end of that, Pastor Amy will be setting up either a Zoom or a Google Hangout where kids can then reflect on that story and process together. So that's the plan. More details to come on that on Friday. And that wasn't a ghost that just pushed open that door. That was my cat, Annie. All right. That's what's going on, fccgranbury.live. A couple other little details here. Brian Rossetti informed me that anyone struggling right now with depression, with anxiety, with fear, there's a line that people can call. And of course, you can always set up a time to speak with one of your ministers here, one of your elders. We would love to do that. Some people like to speak about these things anonymously. And if that's what you'd like to do, Texas Health and Human Services has a 24/7 line that you can call. And the number for that is 833-986-1919. The Hood County Healthy Children's Coalition is asking that on Friday we wear blue. We're entering into April, which is Child Abuse Awareness Month. Now, you may be at home by yourself It may be that no one sees you put on that blue. That doesn't matter. That is not the point. The point is to foster awareness. And so I'm going to put on blue on Friday, the brightest blue that I have. And every time I look down, that's going to remind me of just what a pressing issue this is and how important it is that we all be lifting up prayer in the name of kids who are struggling with these challenges. We're hearing that the issue of child abuse has only been exacerbated by these awful circumstances right now. You have families who are very stressed, families where people have lost jobs, families are stuck at home together and frustrated with one another. And so child abuse is on the rise, and what an awful, awful thing. And we need together to live into awareness of that problem, do what we can to support ministries in this community that work to address those challenges, and lift up prayer daily for hurting kids. Please join me in doing that on Friday. I also mentioned in the email that people have been asking how they can support Dave and Carol Farrell right now. Dave and Carol have done so much to support so many of us. And Carol says the best way, in addition to prayer, that you can support them right now is to send happy cards to Dave. Again, really, leaning away from words like, oh gosh, Dave, we're so sorry. We know this is a hard time for you right now. That what Dave really needs to hear right now is, hey, Dave, we love you. You're a good fellow, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. And you can send those cards to Dave at Wellbridge, Fort Worth. The address is 6200 Overton Ridge Boulevard, and that's Fort Worth, Texas, 76132. Okay, finally, as far as donations and how to serve right now, again, kind of coming back to what I talked about at the open of this video, we made a big push, and we got a lot of things into the hands of people that urgently needed them over the past couple of weeks. We got a note from Mia saying, thank you for all the gifts that you've given those kids out there. And she said, you should just see, I wish you could see the smiles on their faces as they've opened those gifts and know that they're cared for during this time. And so that's been a wonderful thing. And again, we have now gone through a lot of the items that have been donated. I will include probably in an update early next week. Been working with Ray Gaddy on kind of a new plan as far as the Weekend Food for Kids piece. We're probably going to move away from a monthly sacking to a weekly one, so we can do that with fewer people, but be meeting the need as we go. It's tougher to get more items right now at any one time too, because most places have limits on what they'll sell you. So it could be that it's just going to require, a weekly accumulation of items that we can then sack each Sunday. But we'll have more information for you on that next week. In the meantime, again, I would like to encourage you, challenge you to continue to think about how you can make that kind of giving a part of your routine. Can you, when you order, if you're ordering food, from Amazon or something, or if you're placing an order for pickup at Kroger or H-E-B, can you order each week a few additional items with the intention of providing those to families in need? You can either bring those up to the gym at church, or you can have items sent directly to the church, and we will get those where they need to go. That, frankly, is probably even better. I'd like for you to be able to stay home if possible. So if you can order things and have them sent to the church, we do have a process right now for going through those and getting those things where they need to be. Holly Brown, in particular, has been taking things out to Ruth's Place, and Ray is working hard and coordinating the weekend food program. There are additional details in the email about what kind of things we're looking for. Truly, any non-perishable food items are helpful at this point, and things that cannot go into the weekend food bags can be taken out to Ruth's Place, and there's a high need out there for those. And items that can go into the bags don't have to be the name brand items. Ray just put those in there, those descriptions kind of as a marker to help you think about what kind of things are needed. All right, friends. I know that's a lot of information, and I appreciate you sticking with me. Thank you for continuing to be church. If there's anything your church can do for you, please let us know. And I'd like to close today with the words of Isaiah 44, starting in verse 16. This is what the Lord says. He who made a way through the sea, a path through the mighty waters, who drew out the chariots and horses, the army and reinforcements together, and they lay there never to rise again, extinguished, snuffed out like a wick. Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the desert and streams in the wasteland. The wild animals even honor me, the jackals and the owls, because I provide water in the desert and streams in the wasteland to give drink to my people, my chosen, the people I formed for myself, that they may proclaim my praise. Friends, even now in the midst of all this, our God is doing a new thing. Our God is making a way for us in the desert, providing water, streams in the wasteland. And our task as believers, as followers of Christ, is to lean deeply into the Spirit in our midst, knowing that that God will meet us there, and that in that meeting, God will open our eyes, open our hearts, open our worldview to perceiving the light that emerges even now in the midst of darkness. Thank you, friends, and God bless you.